Welcome to the Education Marketing Leader podcast with Chris Raposo. If you're looking to dive into the latest industry insights, draw inspiration from education success stories, or just want to sharpen your marketing skills, you're in the right place. Here, we bring you a diverse range of voices from experts and leaders in the field, offering you a unique blend of professional development and practical strategies. Whether you want to understand your audience better, stay updated with the latest tech trends in marketing, or expand your professional network, we've got you covered. So while you're driving on your morning commute or winding down after a busy day, let's explore the dynamic world of education marketing together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Education Marketing Leader Book Club meeting. We're so glad you're all here. We're going to have a great hour in store for you. My name is Chris Raposo. I am the AVP of Marketing Strategy for Staymates, a digital marketing agency serving higher ed institutions with enrollment marketing, brand management, content, and website redesign. I'm also the podcast host of the Education Marketing Leader podcast. I'm a storyteller, I'm a runner, I'm a husband and a father of two wonderful children, a boy and a girl. Very blessed there. Today's book is MailedIt by Ashley Budd and Kibilds on email marketing. About the authors, Kibilds, she is the VP of Strategy at Ology, and Ashley Budd is the Senior Director of Advancement Marketing at Cornell University. We're going through about a 40-minute book discussion. We're talking about what tips or ideas changed how you write emails today? How do you make your emails feel seen by people and make them more relevant? And what's one layout fix you want to try for now? These are just some suggestions on how to get the discussion going. But before we do so and before we get into it, let's start with a brief introduction of everybody who is on this call. Jill Whitaker.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jill Whitaker. I am the Director of Web Services at Southern Utah University, which is the University of the Parks. We have an official designation with the National Park System because we're right there pocketed with a whole bunch of national parks around us. I've worked professionally in higher ed for about 25 years now. And prior to that, I worked in television.
Awesome. Good to have you. Good to see you. She's a frequent as well. So thank you so much. Talking about frequent, Sarah Kelser.
Hey, everyone. Sarah Kelser, Senior Account Executive at Cluedo. We do site search and chatbots. But yeah, love this book. I'm excited to dig into it.
Good to have you again. Erin Bartoletti, sorry.
You got it. It's a long one. Hey, everybody. I'm Erin Bartoletti. I'm the Digital Communications Specialist at the Irving Institute for Energy and Society at Dartmouth. Actually, I live in Southern Maine. I work remotely for Dartmouth. I really enjoyed this book. Very helpful. I was previously at the University of Southern Maine, and I think I just hit 12 years in higher ed, but for the past 7 years, I was focused on web marketing. And the role I'm in now is web marketing plus email marketing plus social. So jumping back into email marketing, which I've done in the past, but not the scale that I'm doing it now, this book has been immensely helpful. So thank you so much. So good to be here.
Good to have you. Really nice to have you. Troy Singer, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. Troy Singer. I am a targeted digital marketing consultant with Ring Digital, and what we do is direct mail, but done digitally. I also have the honor of being the co-host of the Higher Ed Marketer podcast with Bart Kaler.
Awesome. Great to have you. Lovely podcast as well. And my fellow German, Jannika Carey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jannika Carey. I was in higher ed for 12 years, most recently as a communications director, and I'm a freelance writer and editor now, and I do a lot of email marketing, have done a lot of emails recently, so I really liked this book, and I use the AI companion quite a bit, and it's great.
Yeah, it is so good. If I forgot anything, why not have a quick introduction of Kibilds here real quick?
I wasn't expecting you to call on me. Hi, everybody. I'm Day Kibilds. As you saw on a previous slide, I'm Vice President of Strategy at Ology and co-author of MailedIt. I've been in higher ed for, I think it's 15 years this year, and a marketer for just 4 more years for longer years than that. Oh my God, I clearly don't speak English very well, so I don't know how I wrote a book. But yeah, I have been pretty much an enrollment most of that time, and then one incredible fate-changing year at Cornell, which is where Ashley and I met
Very cool.
in advancement. Mhm.
I know that how you met. That's very cool. Okay, there's another person from ology right here, Becca.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. I have the joy of working with day to day at Ology, but also just a big fan of this book and the work she's done in this space. So here as a sometimes attendee, but also a big fan of Day. My role at Ology is our Chief Client Engagement Officer. So I work with our partners on new projects and also new partners on new projects.
Awesome. Good to have you. Good to see you again. And another colleague, this time the colleague of Ashley, it seems, Sarah from Cornell Brooks School.
Hey, I'm Sarah Louise Shoup. I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment Marketing and Digital Communication at the Brooks School, which is the School of Public Policy at Cornell University. And my job is kind of a combo of enrollment marketing for our master's programs, social media, and then a lot of copywriting. So I definitely appreciate your custom GPT, but I'm glad to be here.
Very good. Good to have you as well. And fresh of the EduWeb Summit, EDU Summit, Allison Tercio.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison, Assistant Vice President for Enrollment and Marketing at Siena University and host of the Application Podcast, and I publish the Higher Ed Marketers Digest. And I know you too, Brian, we got to be at the launch party of this book, so it's been one of my favorite books, and I too have a custom GPT that's based on this book that I've had for many months, and also probably my top use case on GPT.
Love it. Love it. Laura Rudolph. And you're off. I can't hear you, Laura. Let's try this again. All right. Now I can't hear you. All right. Let's figure out that tone. Aubrey, let's go for it. Oh, Aubrey, you're off too. What is happening? All right. Ashley, can you speak? Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
The third time's a charm. I can hear you now.
Hi, it's me. I'm here at Cornell for once. I usually typically work remotely from my home in Saratoga Springs, where, yes, Allison and Brian did come out for a launch party. And Brian, do you have the shirt on? Brian won this shirt at the launch party. It says, "I hope this email finds you well."
How did he win it, though? How did he win it, Ash? How did he win
So we asked the room, we had 2 giveaways, and we asked the room who had the most unread emails. And Brian with something like 30,000.
Oh no, it was like 750,000. And I actually rolled over to 1 million and then it reset when I did that.
There we are. The chaos.
Yes. Awesome. Well, good to have you, Ashley. Thanks for being here. And Julie Navarro.
Hey there, I'm Julie Navarra. I'm a freelance content strategist and copywriter, and I've done a lot of work with colleges and universities as well as taught for a number of years, and missed the last couple of book clubs, so I'm excited to be back again, and good to see everyone here.
And last but not least, the marketing guy, Jeff Ebbing.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Brian, I've been trying to email you for the past few years, and I thought you were blowing me off, but now I know why. You just haven't read my emails. So, I'll figure out it with me. I'll send you smoke signals or something. Well, I love Day. I love your podcast. That's how I kind of tripped into this and seeing the work that you've done. I've met Southeastern Community College in Iowa. I've been there for 20 years. Long-time email guy. But now we're moving over into a CRM, and a lot of that stuff's going to be automated, and trying to figure out how we can go from what we were doing to what we're going to be doing and do it with some modicum of expertise and success. So we love the book. Looking forward to what we talk about today.
Very good. Aubrey, you want to try one more time?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Wonderful. Hello, my name is Aubrey, and I'm a communication specialist for admissions at the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh. And I feel like I need to show you guys my hair clip because I wore it just for today. But it's a little letter.
I want it.
I need it.
I'll send you guys links.
Okay, good. We have the earrings on.
Earrings.
Oh my God. I love it.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you, Laura. How about you?
How about now? Am I
Yeah.
good? All right. I'm Laura Rudolph. I'm located in Eastern Kentucky, so not far from you, Jonathan. I'm the founder of Square One Consulting. I work with a lot of small and regional institutions to help with their enrollment marketing. I like to say from strategy all the way to their Slate instance.
Awesome. Good to have you, Laura. And last but not least, Pablo, joining us all the way from Santiago, Chile.
Hi everyone, how are you? Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm from Chile. I'm from Santiago. Today I'm head of communication at the office of the Vice President of Research and Development at the University of Santiago in Chile. My everyday work is all about promoting what we do at the Vice Presidency and helping our researchers get their project and discoveries out of the world.
Very good. It's good to have you again. Thank you so much for being here. And he is also the book club member of the month of July, Pablo. Now let's go into the discussion. What tips or ideas changed how you write emails today? How do you make your emails feel more personal and relevant? What's one layout fix you want to try now? And did this book shift how you plan email campaigns? Just a couple of questions to get the conversation started. If the floor is open, there's no hand raising. There's just trying to be respectful if we talk over one another. We don't know what we're talking about, so let's just be respectful in that way. But if anybody wants to kick us off, the floor is yours. So, and if nobody says anything, I will.
Thank you. I would like to start with an overview of the book. Honestly, I think that this book is it's a super useful book, especially for us that we work in places like universities, where email, in my case, emails here is still one of the main ways we communicate with people. In my case, we are talking about a community of more than 30,000 people in the university where I work, among students, professors, staff, researchers, and everyone here have corporate email. So the main problem is that people get tons of emails every single day from all kind of departments and units of the university. So getting your message noticed, it's a very real and big challenge. So I think that this book really helps in this case because give me a very clear framework to plan, write, and send better emails. And also what I liked most of this book is that even though it's focused on email, of course, I think that many of the ideas of this book apply to other areas too. For example, websites, social media, or even just writing in general, for example, with practical tools. So yeah, I think it's a very good start to improve and put a strategy into the email activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. You mentioned subject lines. I really like that part of page 24, names and subject lines. I always thought, who should be on the subject line? Like, if I started a new company and I start sending out a newsletter, nobody knows or cares who Chris from Staymates is, right? So I'm going to have to rearrange it a little bit and start with, if I promote a webinar, I'll name it Staymates webinar. And then the other thing that I really liked about the subject line was don't use clever subject lines. Sometimes we're trying to be cool and clever and creative, but we lose the content that's within the body of the email. So just communicating from the start what's in it, what the reader would or should expect, and being respectful of people's time in that regard was, I think, really helpful in being noticed, getting noticed by the right people, and getting your emails open as well. I like that part.
And I think the nice thing to think about this too, and Pablo kind of touched upon it, this isn't just for mass email communications. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people could incorporate into just their regular business communication, colleague to colleague. You know, you shorten up that subject line, make it clear what you're reaching out to them about, jump right in at the start of the email and stuff. Hey, I hope this finds you well, all that stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm not a mass email marketer. I don't write those. This isn't for me. I think it's kind of concepts that are for everybody, and it almost made me sit there and think, this should be like school curriculum for kids that are in middle school, high school. How do you write emails? How do you communicate this clearly? I mean, I remember having to write business letters when I was in school back in the dark ages, and you write your whole "to whom it may concern" and all this stuff. I'm like, let's make a new curriculum. Let's make email communications and make it concise and clear and readable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I probably use the custom GPT on, I'd say, 70% of the emails that I send out. And I am, the shirt was very appropriate for me because I was a huge victim of the hope you're well and hope everything's great and starting off my emails like that. And now, at least when I start an email, I don't put that at the beginning. So that's one less thing that the custom GPT has to correct. But, I haven't, up until I started working for myself, haven't ever run like email drip campaigns or anything like that. But I just find it incredibly useful for really clarifying your message and thinking about what's the one thing that you want to do with this email, what's the one action you're trying to get your user to take. And it's really helped my content writing as well. Like when I write my newsletters, I'll run those through the tool as well sometimes. And it just kind of gives me clarity. It gives me different ideas about how to, pare down my message to just the most important things that I'm trying to communicate. So it's been a huge help in writing. I'm actually working on my next book already, and I've actually been trying out some of dropping it into the custom GPT to try out like different sections of the book to see what ideas it gives me. So it's awesome.
It's great.
What I really love is the permission to keep it simple. I think as a writer, you want to do that, and it's nice to have some other advice, professional backup with that sentiment. Because there's a lot of pressure to put, every kind of message about our institution into one email, and but to sort of have that confidence that no, it's the right thing actually to keep it very simple and direct and on one topic. That's really freeing in a way. So that's one of the lessons from the book that I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I've been using a lot. I'm in one of the newer schools at Cornell, so it seems like every program and every degree program seems brand new. And we're starting 2 new master's programs this fall, or advertising for them. But something I use from the book probably every week is how to work with stakeholders and plan campaigns, because I'm working with a lot of people that haven't ever seen an email drip campaign or don't understand the planning that has to go into all of the materials they're putting out. So it can't be a last minute thing. So I've been using that part of the book a lot, how to work with folks in your area and stakeholders across campus, and how to plan out who does what in an email campaign. So I appreciated that a lot.
One thing I loved is the mention on page 66, complex organizations should try to stay 3 to 6 months ahead of email program plans. And that felt like such a perfect amount of time that I had never thought of, because working in admissions, we're either like a year and a half in advance, or it's a knee-jerk right now, absolutely have to do it. So breaking it down into this like 3 or 6 month cycle, I think has really helped our office make some of our planning more manageable. and allowed us to not spring so many last minute things on our staff. So I really loved that.
Who else got something cool? Some takeaways.
I can go. I feel like I'm a super fan. I read the book twice and I did a workshop. So I'm excited to be here. But there's a lot of practical things that I like. For instance, just like the action item, moving it up to the beginning of your email. Same with your bullet points, almost like flipping the verbiage so the message isn't lost of what you want them to do. Moving my emojis, which I'm like unapologetically millennial. So I'll use lots of emojis and just moving them to the end for accessibility and just making sure the message is not lost. But one thing that I use the ChatGPT for is just getting communication from people can kind of be overwhelming at times if a lot of information is in there. And so just using that to kind of understand the meaning of an email I even get. So I use that often to like determine what they're trying to say to me.
I really liked some of the examples in there. Seeing an email, I think it was one of them was a fundraising email, and then seeing how it could be simplified. And I mean, that was such a great example, especially working at a university. And I mean, we've all gotten these emails, and sometimes it's just so overwhelming. At first, you don't even know how it could be better. I mean, I'm a writer, but sometimes I'm just like so overwhelmed by all of the content. I'm like, oh my God. But seeing it broken down and, I mean, that improved version took out 2/3 of the content, and you're like, yes, that is so much better. And you don't need 2/3 of what was in that first version. And just seeing that is really so helpful. And I know that's sometimes hard, like when you work at an institution, to explain to someone, especially another department, to say, look, we don't need all of this other stuff. This is the version you should be sending out. That's really hard. And I've been there too, but having those examples, and I think that is something really useful that you can show someone and say, look, these are experts. This book it's really highly regarded, and this is something that's proven to work. So I thought that was really great, seeing those examples. But yeah, I mean, I liked everything in the book, and I think it's really useful, and it's a great guide to just go back to, depending on what you're working on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to refer to the experts as well. If I have a debate with somebody in sales, for example, who likes their subject lines 2 to 3 words that scream sales to me, but to them it's natural. And then it's a debate between me and the CEO and the sales leader. That happened to me in my prior company. Now I know my CEO highly regards Day, and she loves her and loves to work with her. So I actually took screenshots from the book to state my case as to why we need the subject line to be a certain way written to communicate what's inside the email and not make the recipient guess. So I used that almost like an exhibit, like page 23, exhibit A, this is what you should do with your subject line. When I have an argument between two competing departments, and you have the mediators, the CEO, okay, what decision are we going to go with? I'm going to cite on the expert's advice. So that's what I used it for in the past as well. So I thought it was really cool that you mentioned that as well, Jannica, that you refer to the experts there. If somebody internally doesn't think.
Right. Yeah, if I still worked in higher ed, that's what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just saying, especially in the age of AI writing, I like the fact that, the book and the custom GPT also stress the importance of authenticity and, creating that empathy, that trust triangle. I love that concept. So, really thinking about connecting with who you're talking with to make sure that the information is relevant and helpful to them. So that's great.
Mhm. Has anybody not used the custom GPT from MailedIt? Because that thing is a gold mine. Like, you have to use that.
I have to get it. I just told myself, get Dave's GPT, and actually GPT. So
It's the best thing ever.
I found that I don't feel as tempted to use it as I used to because I really love that it explains why it makes the suggestions that it makes. And I think that pushes me to be a better writer. So I think it's an amazing tool and I still use it, but my favorite thing about it is that I don't feel like I have to be dependent on it.
Yeah, for sure.
I really appreciated the mix of really, really practical advice. I'm working on our monthly newsletter today and referring back to so many things of like, all right, I got to change how I do this. I should incorporate that. These are the best things to work on. But then also just the overall commitment to the fact that it's about building a relationship with people. And I think it's so easy day to day to get focused on completing our tasks and our projects and getting it sent out and reviewing the metrics, but remembering that there's actually people on the other end. And if they subscribed to something, like they actually really care and want to be a part of our opportunities that we have. But then also acknowledging that they're going to look at the email for 2 seconds and they're going to read in a certain pattern and you got to give them what they need and be really explicit. I was at the EduWeb conference last week, which was really insightful as well. And I think that it was in one of the panels there that someone said, we all imagine someone just like sitting down to read our email, just start to finish. And I still think maybe there might be somebody out there who does it, but I know the book is helpful to remind myself that the majority are just looking really quickly.
One of my favorite things about the book,
Go ahead.
is just the tone of the writing. I think because I know Day and Ashley personally, it is just such a joy to read a book that you can tell was written by humans, which just underscores the point of emails also said when they're written from humans. It just makes it easy to read, it's relatable, and it's enjoyable. And we don't all get to work with them every day, so I love when you can feel and kind of hear an author in their work. And that, for me, was my favorite parts.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, speaking about, reading the emails quickly and stuff, we get a weekly email on campus to all employees. And it's put together by, President's Communications Office, and they go through the campus calendar, which is on our website, which my team is responsible for. They go through different things that they know about, and they write this lengthy email, and it'll say things going on this week, and it will have the date, and it will have the title of an event, and a brief blurb about it, and then it will always say learn more, and then it will have a link into the calendar, and then another one of those, and it's like blah 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 blah, learn more. And so the accessibility is off. Every single link is just learn more, learn more, learn more. But I'm saying, really, you could save a lot of space because all that information is published on the website, and you could just do like what's happening this week, and it's like date, event, date, event, date, event, and then the event is a link, and if people care to learn more, they just follow that link, and the email would be like way shorter. You wouldn't be opening this email with this wall of text, which is what we get every single week. And there are a lot of people that are saying, can I just unsubscribe from this? There's too much to go through. And the president's office is like, no, we need to give this information to you. And I'm like, it's out there.
But do you also get emails for every single one of these events separately from every office, or is it all in
some of them? Yes.
Because at least you have most of them in one email. Most universities have that problem that they get emails from every department multiple times a day. So that's worse.
I think that was the attempt. And I'm saying, you know what? If it wasn't so lengthy and then, people could look at it and see that, then they wouldn't feel their event was lost in this massive list of things. Oh, mine was 5 scrolls down the email. If it just came, it's like, boom, here's the little block of stuff. Then that maybe the others wouldn't feel like, well, we've got to send ours out to make sure that our event gets highlighted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but I will say the whole section about measuring is so smart because as the person who is in charge of the website on our campus and we see all the analytics, it's nice to see stuff with UTM tracking, seeing that an email came in. And so you can actually help people quantify if their email was doing what they had hoped it was doing. But on the flip side of that too, for technical, fixing things, we get email reports a lot of the time when people land on a 404. And oftentimes, we have on our 404 page, how did you get to this link? And most of the time people say in an email, and I'm sitting there, that didn't help. But it grabs the URL of the page they were on in that email that gets sent to my team. And if it had UTM parameters on the original email, then we've had that happen where we're like, oh, this was part of a drip campaign that was set up by admissions. I can tell that from the whole UTM path. They've got something broken in there. So if you're doing this stuff to measure your email, that's going to improve your efficacy, but it's also going to improve troubleshooting on the back end to help when people are landing on things that are wrong. So just a tip for anybody who is writing those. Your web folks can actually help with that too.
Mm-hmm. You made a good point when you said that you measure things, and I like page 40. First, revive the unengaged, just checking in with them. 3 months if they don't open, or 6 months if you send monthly emails. But the other one was remove inactive email addresses. It can be tedious, but it can hurt your deliverable scores when you report to leadership regarding open rates and deliverability rates and whatnot, right? So I think that's worth the effort to remove that, to make your numbers appear as they should. All right.
I'd like to know from Day and Ashley for the version 2. Are there updates that you're already thinking about, or things that you would like to add?
What would I answer? Well, I don't know that there will be a version 2. Maybe Ashley and I can't sit still. You all know this about us. But there are some things I have been thinking about recently about how faculty use email and how they use email for their work. Potentially, if there's ever a version 2, things like that might be inserted. So just different use cases, different purposes of how we use email. Ashley and I have learned so much over the past year, and even the year leading up to publishing, through our workshops and the use cases people bring to us and the questions that they ask, that I think it would just be filled with more examples probably if there's a version 2.
Sometimes I think about versioning for audiences, like half joking about MailedIt for kids. But just it would be pretty easy for us to spin versions for specific industries, sectors, or something like that, and maybe update along the way. But
we've gotten approached a ton by B2B, and you've even done some consumer stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's certain things that are the same and certain things that are different, and so there's some possibilities there.
Well, having done the first version of Epic and then Epic for Higher Ed, I would highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Now we're going into the Q&A section with Day and Ashley. So good kickoff there, Brian. If anybody has questions in regard to how the book came about, or strategy questions or tactical questions, now is your opportunity.
I have a question about international audiences. So the idea of putting everything up front and leaving the niceties for the end is my biggest takeaway, and everybody mentioned that, so I didn't want to jump in earlier. But so it's changed the way I do emails in general. But I have wondered for international context, sometimes I feel like that's more of a Western style to be really direct. Does that change at all if you're talking to international colleagues or students?
I can't say that we have tested it necessarily. I think we definitely have gotten some feedback on this through the folks that we're working with in other cultures. I'd love to hear from Pablo on this, what it's like in Chile. I lived half of my life in Latin America, and there's definitely different customs of like what you need to say, how you need to say it. I don't think what the purpose of email is and how effectively we read email changes. And that's why we don't say remove all the nice things. We say put them at the end, right? Like we still want you to like establish your relationships with folks. And then there's also some flexibility with like if you're emailing a VIP, right? And you like really feel in your guts, like you got to start this with something nice. I usually say to that, well, is the purpose of this email building that relationship? And usually people say yes. And I'm like, well, then that's your first line. Like if the purpose of the email is building the relationship and saying something nice, it's your first line, right? If the purpose is asking them to put their credit card number somewhere, not necessarily, right? So I can only speak to Latin America. I don't think it changes much. I don't want you to stop being nice, but the way we read email as human beings is the same. So there's a balance there to strike.
That's what I was going to say. The predictability and like the reading pattern and what people will see. And if they only see the nice thing that you said and your actual message that you're trying to get across doesn't come across, then I think we want to think about it more like a different kind of communication medium. Like in social media, do we post good morning, it's a great day? Like we don't do that nicety in that channel. So do we really necessarily need to do that in that format in an email? I'm not sure.
Cool. Thank you.
I got a question for you. So one of the things that you suggested in your options, about 2/3 of the way through the book was like this group email, like from different departments. So people are getting like a digest type of a thing for in the recruiting process. Were you able to do that? How did that work? If you're getting, financial aid, admissions, testing, whatever, how are you able to pack all that in an email and have it be not too much, but get them to remember to act on the different things?
I'm trying to remember exactly what you're referring to, but that content and those ideas come from when I used to work in enrollment, and I inherited these gigantic messes of emails upon emails. And the way to get there is through some of those collaborative activities that we also published in the book. I truly had all the people that email my audience in a room with Post-it notes, putting up what you think is important on a wall. And then we all step back together and we all are in shock, right? But I think that's where it starts. It's that kind of working with your stakeholders to see the current chaos. And then together you come up with, all right, what can go together? What can go separately? By no means is it intended to be like everything needs to go in one email and all the different topics in one email. That wouldn't work. But I think it's seeing it all laid out and then realizing what topics go together. So if somebody's in the mindset of financial aid and acting on financial aid, what are the 3 things that they need to do, or 2 things, or 4 things? And then building that journey together. It starts with Post-its. Like truly, it starts with putting everybody in a room and mapping it out and seeing the chaos together and then building something better.
Yeah, I think about the same like in other areas of content strategy, right? Especially in higher ed. A lot of our content is organized by our departments. And so departments are sending on their own schedules and they're in their own silo and they're doing their own thing. And that's how the messages are received. So with that kind of collaboration, putting it in the audience mindset and seeing it from what's going to make sense to them, which is not our departmental structure, that's where you're starting to group things together that should naturally be grouped together rather than like, well, this department does this on this day, because of the way we're actually physically organized.
Great. I wanted to go back to the initial question from Julie and Pablo was about to say something in regard to customs when it comes to. And so, Pablo, do you have any comments on that? Were there any conflicts that you saw in the books in regard to how you go about it in the Chilean market?
Sorry, I couldn't hear very good the question. Could you repeat me?
Yeah, see the question earlier about international communication. Were there any conflicts as it relates to communicating in Chile or South America versus the way we communicate in the United States with email?
Okay. There is no too much difference between United States and Chile in particular. Usually we have a very similar model of communication in social media, in email marketing. So reading this book, I realized that we have very common problems and challenges. So it fits very, very good in the problem that I usually challenge every day here. So maybe one of the big challenge for me here is to manage expectation from stakeholders, and this is the question for Ashley and Day. How do you manage stakeholders' expectation, or what do you recommend when it comes to planning and approval timelines, especially when there is a rush to get something out very quickly? Even though I try to keep everything into the plan, everything into the workflow. Here, usually a stakeholder every day, every week, try to ask you, send emails without plan, without workflow. So how do you manage this situation? Because maybe this is the most difficult part here, is to try to manage expectation of stakeholders. It's a very difficult relationship because most of the stakeholders here in the university are professors. They don't know too much about communication, about the process, the plan. So it's every day I need to educate this kind of people about communication. So what do you recommend to manage this situation?
I recommend writing down, I usually call it something like email standards that you're following. And included in that is some of the SMART metrics that you know and the benchmarks that you want to reach. And we're trying to have this many opens, and we're trying to get these kinds of results, and we're trying to maintain our sender reputation and these kinds of things. And then also include your standards for planning and have that somewhere that you can point to. And so every time somebody reaches out, even if you know you're going to make an exception for that person because it has to be done, you can say, okay, this time, yes, I can make this happen because I have the time for it this week. You're lucky. This is going to work out. And here's the standards in what we do. And usually I need 7 business days from the time that you reach out to me to be able to build it, to be able to test it, make sure your links won't break, and try to explain to them, I'm doing this so that it's going to be really good. But having that written down and then them knowing and hearing, oh, they made an exception for me. Okay, and there is a process here and it's published somewhere, or there's a document that you're referencing, makes it a little bit more real. And that it's standard for everybody, and that you're not just saying, for you, I can't do that, or for somebody else, I can't do that, or that I will. But have it, I would say, try to write that down. For me, for our team, we say that for a new campaign, some kind of big idea, we want to be working a quarter ahead. So if you come to us in this current quarter, we're in the first quarter of our new fiscal year, and you want something to happen in this quarter, we're like, oh, whoa, we work a quarter ahead. I don't know if that's going to be able to happen. We'll see what we can do. Can we do this in the next quarter? We can make that happen for you. And then for those one-off emails, hey, can you get this out for me? We usually say 7 business days to have the content from them. In 7 business days, we can make pretty much anything happen if you hand us content 7 business days ahead. So figuring out for you what is reasonable, and what's reasonable for the partners that you're working with, and then trying to put that down on paper.
Okay.
That sets expectations as well with the stakeholders right there from the start, especially when they don't get their way that time that they think they should. But Jonathan, you have a question?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I like to raise my hand because I like order, and chaos just doesn't work for me sometimes. So my confession is that I haven't read the book yet, but I will once I finish Jenny Lee Fowler's book on social media. I'm a little bit behind. Anyway, so my question really is about I, as a new communications marketing manager for my business unit, has inherited an email program, and so I am kind of feel like I know what to do, but there's all sorts of things that I probably haven't thought of. What are some real kind of tactical, technical steps that someone should take when they get into a new position and they have constant contact and it's just a mess? What's your guidance of how to get your email program in shape? Let's say.
The first one I would be an audit and just see what I'm working with. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you do this all the time. You do audits.
Yeah, I would do an audit. So I would try to get a sample, pull a sample of what, if there's a newsletter that's happening, pull a couple of those to get a sense of what those are, see what your metrics are looking like. Mm-hmm. Is that, set that kind of baseline for yourself. Okay, it looks like this is our average open rate. It looks like this is our average click rate, this is our average unsubscribe rate, and just get a sense of that. And then once you start going above that benchmark, you're like, oh, okay, this one performed better. I wonder what we did here. And just try to get a sense of, how is your audience responding? Does it feel like you have a healthy program, or does it feel like, oh, we're in trouble here? If you're seeing open rates in the 20% range, you're in trouble. You're probably mostly in junk. So finding out where you are, level setting, just what have you been handed? Have you been handing something that needs to reputational rehab, and you're gonna start with that kind of work, or have you been handed something that's healthy or healthy-ish, and that you're just going to work on strengthening that and doing, tweaking it along the way?
Yeah, I inherited an enrollment email program once. And looking at the data is exactly the first thing that I did. If that feels overwhelming, because it is, I would recommend starting with something smaller, a specific campaign. So when I did this, I started it with the invitations to our summer open house. How are stakeholders coordinating? What is being sent? When is it being sent? What does it look like? And clean that up first to show results. So when we clean this up, look, everything went up, registrations went up, open rates went up, whatever. Now let's clean up everything else. Let's clean up this here. Let's clean up the admit yield sequence. I think if it feels overwhelming to look at it all across the board, depending on the size of what you inherited, starting with something specific might give you the footing, to know what you're looking for, and also for people to believe you and start trusting you, for you to change everything else.
Okay. So follow-up question. Ashley, I think you said that 20% open rate is not great. Is there a standard for higher ed emails open rate?
So the reason I said the 20% number is because more and more email service providers are automatically opening your emails. And they're doing that because they want to give you AI summaries, and they want to help you filter, and they want to do all of that good work for you. In higher ed, especially if you write internally, Sarah, at Cornell, all of our emails are open and all of them are clicked on. The Cornell Outlook the data is gone for me. So people who are using Outlook as their primary, if you know you're in a B2B situation, so trying to understand in your metrics what are robots and what are humans can help you start to set this baseline. And I'm finding in most of our sector, I'm finding like a 17% robot open rate right now. So if we're seeing a 20% open rate, we are not reaching people. Like, we're reaching robots, and that you're probably in junk and hopefully not in spam. And what you need to do then is you need to do a IP warming exercise where you're establishing a better sender reputation for your email campaigns so that you are starting to hit the inbox instead of the junk folder. And that's a whole like 3 to 6 month process for some teams that they have to go to get themselves back in the inbox. As far as benchmarking goes, like, I'm happy when I see, I don't think, if some program is at like a 45% open rate, I'm thinking, okay, you're reaching some people, you probably can get much higher by improving the content. So if you're at 45%, I'm not saying, we have to totally start from scratch. At that point, I'm saying, okay, how can we get to 60, right? If we can get to 60, I'm feeling really good. And then those days where you see 75, you're like, ooh, we nailed it, right? So we're getting closer and higher and higher. So I would say if you're seeing something in the 40s, low 40s, I would start to get worried. Mid 40s, like, this is where we can start fixing the content to get us closer to where you want to be, which is over 50%.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting to the end of this wonderful book club. Now, the call to action here is to reach out to Day and Ashley via LinkedIn. If you have any other questions, obviously refer to the book first and then go to them or chat with them up. Or if you have a podcast, invite them on your show to talk more email marketing. That would be another recommendation that I have. This is what I did. Now we come to the part of the book club where we have a little bit of social proof. So if anybody has their book, we'll showcase the book in our little window here. I'm going to do a screenshot. Then I'm going to tag everybody. Then I'm going to get a lot of reach because you're going to engage with it. And then we get more people into the book club for the next one. So let me set this up real quick. I got this book.
I don't have mine.
I put my copy on one of my Dark Reports desks 2 days ago, so I don't have it either. So you're not alone, Ashley.
Allison, your face alone is social proof.
Yes.
All right, smile. All right, everybody, smile. Awesome. Very good. So real quick, housekeeping. Next book will be Chasing Mission Fit by Bart Kaler, another wonderful resource that we've come across. I had a poll in LinkedIn about a week ago. So the consensus was this book is going to be the next one. If you have any recommendations or if you know any authors who wrote really good business books, marketing books, tell me about it. We'd love to, showcase them and highlight them in the book club as well. And then have a discussion about that along with the author. So I'm trying to get people on first that we know the author so we can have them show up and participate. I'm probably going to have a hard time getting Seth Godin on here in the future, but maybe if he hasn't in, we'll bring him on as well.
You got to ask, Chris.
I will ask.
Just ask.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask. I will ask I'm going to fill out a form on his website, and then we'll see. Maybe we're lucky. But a little bit about Chasing Mission Fit. It offers actionable strategies to help colleges and universities stand out by connecting with mission fit students. With audience-focused tactics and practical advice, this guide empowers institutions to position themselves as the ideal choice for prospective students who will thrive. This is what we want, right? We're not recruiting students; we're recruiting our alumni. So, next book we're reading end of August 27th. Now, I'm in B2B. Is this a bad date because school starts, or can we work with this? Well, what are we thinking?
Works for me.
Did for me too.
Okay, let's run with it, and then we'll be there. Are there any other questions do you have for me? I recorded this. I'm going to share it on the Higher Education Marketing Book Club page in LinkedIn. So you can refer back to it and share with your friends. If you know anybody who's who would be interested in this monthly get together, send them the link. Would love to have more people show up. And
Chris, we have one more thing that we want to say, and I need to drop off for a 1:00 meeting, but this has been such a gift to us. I can't thank you enough. This has just been such a special hour. And as our gift to you, we have our last public workshop tomorrow at 1:00. If you are available from 1 to 4 Eastern time tomorrow and you want to join the workshop, we are happy to comp anyone who was on the call today to join us tomorrow. Just DM us on LinkedIn and we'll get you the comp code.
Oh my God. I put it in the chat. I totally just dropped it in the chat.
That's good. No, I just didn't want to say it out loud for all of the people watching the recording.
And it's only for people who join live. So I will publish this recording after the fact. All right. Thank you, Ashley and Dave. Very generous of you. Really appreciate your time. And I will see you in my feed. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning into the show and sticking with me to the end. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe to the Education Marketing Leader and share it with your friends and your network. This episode was brought to you by Scribasound Podcast Production. It's one of my ventures. If you ever thought about starting your own podcast, be sure to reach out to me. I would love to help you. Follow the show and tune in every other Thursday as I interview higher ed marketing leaders for your benefit. I'll see you next time. Have a good day, friends. Take care.